Anybody know what Tuesday is? It's Valentine's Day. Guys, have you bought her the good kind of candy yet? You know what the good kind of candy is? The kind you like to eat. Valentine's Day is supposed to be all about love. My message today is called Love Never Ends. We're going to be in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. You go and get your swords opened up in 1 Corinthians 13. Now, I know the origins of Valentine's Day may have a pagan feel since it was established in Rome centuries ago, but the main emphasis of Valentine's Day today is filled with expressions of love, appreciation, and if they just happen to sell lots of candy and mushy cards and flowers and gifts, to help you show that, well, things happen. We all know what Tuesday is. Many people throughout the world celebrate the day with flowers, candy, cards, and meaningful messages, and poems will be read, new commitments made to each other. Valentine's Day can be a wonderful thing. It can also be a very sad day for some. Many of you were here last night for our annual Valentine banquet, and it was a fun time. Good food, fun game, and that may be the only Valentine some get. And you know what? That's okay. That's all right. If you know somebody who's going to be alone this Valentine's, you might send something to them or take something to them. But you know, it really isn't about the stuff you buy. It's what is in your heart. And for you, it may be about remembering, right? The Apostle Paul had a similar idea when he wrote to the church in Corinth, when he wrote to the Corinthians, that I may possess all the characteristics of a Christian. He said, but have not love, I am nothing. 1 Corinthians 13:2. 1 Corinthians 13 is called the love chapter. Okay? And we're going to focus in on verses 4 through 8a. Okay? Now I want to ask you to do something this morning I don't usually ask you to do. I want you to stand up and I want you to read this out loud with me. So, on your feet. All right? 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8a. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Thank you. May be seated. I don't know how many weddings I've done where I've quoted these verses. Maybe your wedding. That's all right, because it's a good reminder for us about what love is. Right? We've seen it, we've read it out loud, but do we truly live the message in 1 Corinthians 13? Are we truly loved? Do we live it? John wrote about this very topic in the first epistle. He said, "Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth." It's 1 John 3:18. And again in chapter 4, verses 20 and 21, he said, "If anyone says, I love God, yet hates his brother, he is a liar. whoever loves God must also love his brother. It would seem to me that the church has a whole lot of self-examination to be doing. Some Valentines maybe to sin, right? But definitely more love to pass around. The church is supposed to be about love. Now, just a little side note here. The U.S. Greeting Card Association estimates that approximately 1 billion Valentines are sent every year worldwide. 1 billion with a B. In case you didn't know, it's a whole bunch. Right? Yet in spite of all that is sent, in spite of everything that is exchanged, the Valentines really matter are the ones we receive and give where love is unconditional. The ones that say, no matter what, I love you. No matter what. 1 Corinthians 13:13, but the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians 14:1 says, follow the way of love. But what is love? Remember the 60s? The hippies came out, man, love, not war, man. Right? They wanted love. But what is love? Author and lecturer Lou, I get his name right in a minute, Leo, I can't even say his last name, Buscaglia once talked about a contest he was asked to judge. The purpose of the contest was to find the most caring child. The winner was a 4-year-old child whose next door neighbor was an elderly gentleman who had recently lost his wife. Upon seeing the man cry, the little boy went into the old gentleman's yard, climbed up in his lap, and just sat there. When his mother asked him what he had said to the neighbor, the little boy said, nothing, I just helped him cry.
Oh, that's sweet.
What does love mean? What does love mean? In English, we use the word love for everything, man. I love my wife. I love chocolate, right? Man, I really love my truck, right? I love my grandkids. I love God. We use love, we throw it around for everything. What does love really mean? Well, in the Greek, there are several words that translate into our word for love. And one of those is Xena, right? Xena, it is a concept of hospitality, okay? And then there's philia, which is the affectionate regard, like as in friendship, right? Between equals, it's a friend bond. And then there's storge, which means affection, especially of parents and their kids. It's also used when referencing the love for our country or our favorite sports team, right? It's the empathy bond. And then there's philia, which is a self-love. And it's where we get the word eros. It is a passionate, sexual passion type love. And the word it's the basic for the word erotica. Okay? And then there is agape or agapeo. And this is the unconditional love. It is the love of God. Agape is used in ancient texts to denote the feelings for your kids or for your spouse. agape is used by Christians to express their unconditional love of God, His unconditional love for us, right? And when we talk about the unconditional love of God, God doesn't say, I love you if you'll do this. He doesn't say, I love you because you do that. He doesn't say, I'll wait and see if I love you. God says, I love you, period. Unconditional. His love for us is unconditional. You know what? That's good news for us. That means even when we mess up, He still loves us. Even when we do something really wonderful and great, He still loves us. Even when we're not very lovable, He still loves us unconditionally. The agape kind of love. You know, we all want a marriage that will last, but before we get married, you know, when we're dating, we're kind of giddy about each other. It was a long time ago we were dating, but I still kind of remember this. We wanted to just spend time together, all right? We just wanted to be with each other. Everything is good. Everything is right. And this is the marriage that's going to last through all eternity. Then we get married. 6 months down the road, really not the person I thought I was marrying. Man, you know, he's a slob. I never saw that before we got married. Pick up your dirty clothes. Man, I didn't know she snored. Right? I'm not saying my wife snores. But when we get married 6 months down the road, we figure out it's not the person we thought we were marrying. But how many of you realize that you're not the person they thought they were marrying either? We need to know what real love is. We must have the agape kind of love, the unconditional love for each other. We must also have in our marriage, well, the love that attracts us to each other. Eros. There was a woman who had Alzheimer's. It got worse and worse and worse. I've seen this with hospice. I've seen this with family, and this woman finally had to be put into a Alzheimer's unit because they know what to do with them. And her husband would come and see her every day, come and visit her every day. Finally, one of the workers said, "Sir, why do you come up here every day? She doesn't know if you're here or not. She wouldn't know if you didn't show up every 6 months. Why are you here every day? She doesn't even know you're here." He said, "But I know." See, he still loved her unconditionally. He still loved her, even if she didn't know who he was. The love he had for his wife was unconditional. What kind of love do we have for our spouse? What kind of love do we have for each other? What kind of love do we have for God? 1 John 2, 4 through 6 says this: "The man who says, 'I know him,' but does not do what he commands is a liar. The truth is not in him. But if anyone obeys his word, God's love is truly made him complete in him. This is how we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live in him must walk as Jesus did." So if we say we have the love of God in us, are we walking the way Jesus did? Are we loving like Jesus loved? Before we decide if we love somebody, we need to watch and see if they love God. Their life's going to show it. We should be seeing godly fruit. Right? 1 John 3:11 says, "This is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another." We should love one another. There must be love in that person, real, true love, the God kind of love. 2 John 6, And this is love, that we walk in obedience to His commands. As you have heard from the beginning, His command is that you walk in love. But then we also think about love. We think about John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have eternal life. Jack Kelly is a foreign affairs editor of USA Today. He has been nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. He tells a story of a boy's sacrificial love. This is what he wrote. We were in Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia in East Africa, during a famine. It was so bad, we walked into one village and everyone was dead. There was such stench of death that gets into your hair, gets onto your skin, gets into your clothes. You can't wash it off. In another village, he said, we saw this little boy. You could tell he had worms and was malnourished. His stomach was protruding. When a child is extremely malnourished, the hair turns a reddish color, and the skin becomes crinkled as though he was 100 years old. One photographer had a grapefruit, which he gave to the boy. The boy was so weak he didn't have the strength to hold the grapefruit, so we cut it in half and gave it to him. He picked it up, looked at us as if to say thanks, and began to walk back towards his village. We walked behind him in a way he couldn't see us. When he entered the village, there on the ground was a little boy who I thought was dead. His eyes were completely glazed over. It turned out that this was his younger brother. The older brother kneeled down next to his younger brother, bit off a piece of the grapefruit, and chewed it. Then he opened up the younger brother's mouth, put the grapefruit in, and worked his brother's mouth up and down. We learned that the older brother had been doing that for the younger brother for 2 weeks. A couple of days later, the older brother died of malnutrition, and the younger brother lived. I remember driving home that night thinking, I wonder if this is what Jesus meant when He said, there is no greater love than to lay down our life for somebody else. John 3:16 from the complete Jewish Bible says it like this. For God so loved the world that He gave His only and unique Son, so that everyone who trusts in Him may have eternal life instead of being utterly destroyed. We've talked about love, what love is. Real love is Jesus dying for us. What does He save us from? Well, He saves us from ourselves. He saves us from a life of destruction. He saves our life, our family, our marriage. He saves our eternal soul from eternal damnation. What does it save us for? He saves us for Himself. He saves us for all eternity in heaven. 1 Corinthians 13:13. Now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Our invitation this morning, I want you to close what you have in your lap. I want you just to listen to me as I reread verses 4 through 8a. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. 1 John 4:7 and 8 says, Beloved, let us love one another, For love is from God. Whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. You know, the only reason we are able to love is because God loved us first. That's the only reason we're able to love. Now I'm going to ask you to do something I don't usually ask you to do. I want every head bowed, every eye closed. And I want to ask you a question this morning. Do you feel loved? Do you feel loved this morning? If you're here this morning and you feel like you've never really been loved, and you want that love that God has to offer, I want you just to look at me. Maybe you have not shown love the way you should. Maybe you have even used God as your excuse. You've used God as an excuse to be less loving. Or maybe even you've been rude. Maybe you need to turn that over to God. Maybe you need to ask God to help you to love like you should. If this is you, I want you just to look at me. Maybe you're here this morning and you've been self-centered. You've been one who finds fault in everything. And definition of love just doesn't come close to describing who you really are. And maybe this definition of love in 1 Corinthians is what you want to be more like. If that's you, just look at me this morning. And everyone who looked at me, I want to pray for you. Father, you are love. Father, I ask you this morning to let each and every one of us feel your love as we never felt your love before. Let us feel what your love really feels like. Father, you are agape love. You love us without conditions. You love us so much that you sent your Son to die for us. And Father, as I said before, the only reason we're able to love is because you loved us first, as your word says. Show us how to love you the way you want us to love you. Show us how to love others the way you want us to show them love. Father, if we are short with someone, if we are rude, if we are whatever, Father, check our tongue. Remind us to show your love, your way. Bring us to where we need to be and show us what we need to turn over to you this morning. Show us what we need to make right in our life today. I thank you for this in Jesus' name. Amen. As our musicians come and start to play, I want to open up this invitation time for you.